Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Urdu Seekhiye. I'm your host, Shireen, and this is episode number 28. I've decided that I'll stick to doing grammar lessons on the podcast rather than through YouTube, though you should still subscribe to Urdu Seekhiye's YouTube channel. So today's grammar topic is possessive adjectives. You will find any interactive exercises, PDFs, or Notion handouts related to this topic on the page for episode number 28. So simply go to urduseekhiye.com/E28. I'll be sure to provide the link in the show notes. In the handout, you'll see various things. First, the demonstrative pronouns, then the personal pronouns, and the corresponding possessive adjectives. If you're brand new to Urdu, then I highly recommend downloading the PDF. By the way, if you go to the Urdu Seekhiye website, you'll now see a different download button. For many of the PDFs, even though they cost $0, you are able to increase that dollar amount if you'd like to support the work that I do. A few people have already done so. A very big thank you to Matthias, Jim, Ute, Arshin, Samantha, Mohammed, Mariam, Homera, Lloyd, and Mizukami. Sorry if I mispronounced anyone's name. Also, I want to say a special thank you to Matthias because he chose to pay for several PDFs that were free. If I can get a few more thousand listeners like him, maybe I can quit my day job. Also, a lot of people have asked if I have Patreon so they can contribute on a monthly basis, but at the moment I don't. But there is an option to donate to Urdu Seekhiye. Simply go to urduseekhiye.com/donate. I'll link to that in the show notes too. And a final way you can support Urdu Seekhiye is by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts. That will help the podcast reach a bigger audience. Before we begin, I do want to bring your attention to the knowledge check exercise. The first one I created was for the Urdu alphabet. You can go to the Urdu Seekhiye website and play this game to test your knowledge of all the letters of the Urdu alphabet. I'll also provide a link to that. And for this grammar lesson, you can also test your knowledge of possessive adjectives. That knowledge check will be available on the page for episode 28 when it is complete. Okay, so let's turn to the topic of the day, possessive adjectives. To form sentences with possessive adjectives, you'll have to start by asking a few questions, such as, who am I speaking to? Or who am I speaking of? Is it one person or more than one? And does this person or people require respect? To start off, let's just assume everyone we speak to and speak of requires respect. In the chart where you see some of the singular pronouns, their corresponding possessive adjectives show respect. So the chart includes both informal and formal ways, right? So when I say it shows respect, that's the formal way. So in all the examples that I show, I'm going to be using the formal way to speak, okay? So let's take a look at those examples. I'm going to try to keep the grammar explanation to a minimum, hoping that you'll start seeing a pattern just by examining the various examples. So the first example, which I took directly from episode 1, happens to be a question. The question is, what is your name? So here, our possessive adjective is your. To ask this in Urdu, we'd say, Aapka naam kya hai? Aapka naam kya hai? The possessive adjective in Urdu is aapka. The response to that question would be, Mera naam Shireen hai. Mera naam Shireen hai, which means my name is Shireen. Again, if you download the PDF for this episode, you'll see these examples written out. Or you can pause and write these examples out for yourself. It'll be easier to understand if you see it written out as you hear them. All right, the next example. Remember, we're going to speak using formal language, meaning we're going to remain respectful. So to ask, what is his name? You'll say, Inka naam kya hai? Inka naam kya hai? So inka is the possessive adjective, meaning his, her, or its. You'll notice that the possessive adjectives corresponding to ye and wo have the same translation. So let's say that there are two boys or even men, and I'm talking to the mother of either the boys or the men. I could point to one and say, Inka naam kya hai? And later say, aur unka? Both inka and unka mean his, her, or its. But I could just as easily have said, Inka naam kya hai? Aur inka? It could also be that one person is closer to me and the other person is further away. So again, the inka and unka distinction would be helpful. So inka could mean this one over here, and unka could mean that one over there. Even if we change the gender, so for the question, what is her name? It would still be inka naam kya hai or unka naam kya hai. And you don't see it on the PDF, but if you watch the videos on my YouTube channel, I explain how the short vowels work. So inka and unka are written in the exact same way, but inka has a zer below the alif, while unka has a pesh above the alif. The response to inka naam kya hai or unka could be inka naam Amjad hai or unka naam Adnan hai. Inka naam Amjad hai or unka naam Adnan hai. And that just means his name is Amjad and his name is Adnan. So you notice how inka and unka mean the same thing, but embedded in that sentence, in the context, is this idea that one is closer and one is further, or it's this idea that we're talking about two different people. Next example, what are their names? Now here, there's a change in number. When there's a change in number, meaning I'm asking the names of multiple people, more than one person. So then, ka becomes ke. So what are their names could be inke naam kya hain or unke naam kya hain. Inke naam kya hain? Unke naam kya hain? I won't provide a response for all the example questions, but how would I answer the question, inke naam kya hain or unke naam kya hain? So there could be multiple ways to answer this. I'd answer it by saying, Inke naam Amjad aur Adnan hain. Inke naam Amjad aur Adnan hain. This means their names are Amjad and Adnan. Or you could answer it just like the way we answered the previous question. That would be, Inka naam Amjad hai aur unka naam Adnan hai. Notice when we are only asking one person their name, then the to be verb is hai. But when we ask more than one person their names, then we use the to be verb hain. We have multiple owners and multiple names. Okay, let's change the example type. So the next example includes another grammar concept. It includes the word this. This, that, these, those are demonstrative pronouns. The thing is that this and that are exactly the same as the personal pronoun his, her, it, and they. So knowing the context is important to fully understanding what is meant. So how would I say, this is her book? So if you look at the chart on the handout, you know that this is ye. The possessive adjective her is inka, inki, or inke, or unka, unki, unke. Book is kitāb, and the to be verb is hai, which means is. This is her book would be ye inki kitāb hai, ये इनकी किताब है, or ये उनकी किताब है. ये उनकी किताब है. Now, why is it ki and not ka or ke? That's because kitāb is feminine. Ye inki kitāb hai. And because kitāb is singular, it won't be ke. Also, because kitāb is singular, the to be verb is hai and not hain. Now, it's a little difficult to hear the difference between hai and hain, but hain has like this nasal n ending, okay? And so hain is plural, hai is singular. So basically, hai is, and hain is are. If we had more than one book, how would I say, these are her books? That would be, ye inki kitabein hain. Ye inki kitabein hain. Ye inki kitabein hain. I'll do another lesson on how to make words plural. Maybe that'll be the topic of the next grammar lesson. Let me know in the comments for episode 28 if you think that'll be helpful to you. Feel free to suggest other topics too. So the sentence structure. First, we have the demonstrative pronoun, ye or wo, then the possessive adjective, then the subject, then the to be verb. Be mindful of the gender and number of the subject. So another example, how would I say, this is my book? Ye kitab meri hai. Ye kitab meri hai. How about, this is his book, but the owner of the book is kind of far? Ye unki kitab hai. Ye unki kitab hai. Or you could change up the order a little bit. You could also say, ye kitab unki hai. So it's either ye unki kitab hai or ye kitab unki hai. Okay, so now let's mix it up a bit. What if the book isn't close, it's far, and the owner of the book is far? How would I say, that is his book? वो किताब उनकी है. वो किताब उनकी है. वो किताब उनकी है. Or we could also say, वो उनकी किताब है. वो उनकी किताब है. How about, this is their book? This is their book. ये किताब इनकी है. ये किताब इनकी है. Again, the reason that ये किताब इनकी है could mean this is her book, this is his book, or this is their book is because when we're speaking of a singular owner, but are showing respect to that owner, then we must use the plural possessive adjective. To help emphasize the their, when translating this is their book, we could also say, ye kitab in sab ki hai. Ye kitab in sab ki hai. If you recall, sab means all. So ye sab means all theirs in this context. So ye kitab in sab ki hai means this book is all of theirs. It belongs to them all. Also, if you notice, even though we're talking about multiple owners, we're talking about just one book. So the to be verb is singular. It's hai. So how would we say, this is our book? Ye kitab hamari hai. Ye kitab hamari hai. Okay, let's work with a masculine noun and see what changes. How would I say, this is my hair? Hair is interesting. Whether hair is singular or plural, it stays the same. It's always bal. However, in the following sentences, it's being treated like a collective noun. So it'll be plural. And the reason you need to know whether it's behaving as a singular or a plural is because you need to know which to be verb to use, right? Before I go into our examples, let me give an example of where bal is singular. If we want to say this is one hair or it is one hair, that would be ye ek bal hai. The only thing that changes is the to be verb, hai. But in the following examples, the to be verb will be hain, since we're going to treat bal as a plural noun. So just a reminder, examples of to be verbs are am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, etc. For a full list, just Google to be verbs or post any questions you may have on the webpage for episode number 28. So our first example sentence is, this is my hair. In Urdu, that would be, ye mere baal hain. Ye mere baal hain. Ye mere baal hain. So I'm not talking about like one strand of hair. I'm talking about my hair as a collective thing. You can also switch up the order. You can move the noun before the possessive adjective. So it can also be ye baal mere hain. Ye baal mere hain. Same thing with the next one. This is her hair would be ye inke baal hain. Ye inke baal hain. Or ye baal inke hain. Notice that it's not ka or ki, it's ke. And that's because baal is plural and masculine. This is their hair would be ye unke baal hain. Or ye baal unke hain. Ye unke baal hain. Or ye baal unke hain. How would I say this is our hair? This is our hair would be ye hamare baal hain. Ye hamare baal hain. Or ye baal hamare hain. Now let's do a singular masculine noun. How would I say, this is my house? Press pause, think about it, then check your answer. This is my house would be, ye ghar mera hai. Ye ghar mera hai. Or ye mera ghar hai. Ye mera ghar hai. Ye mera ghar hai. How would I say, this is their house? ये इनका घर है. ये इनका घर है. Or ये उनका घर है. ये उनका घर है. How about this is her house? ये इनका घर है. ये इनका घर है. So notice how this is their house and this is her house are said in the exact same way. How about this is your house? ये आपका घर है. ये आपका घर है. Or ये घर आपका है. All right, so let's stick with ghar, but let's pretend we're talking about 3 houses. So to make ghar plural, we could say ghar, or we could say gharon. In this case, ghar is correct. So if I want to say these are her houses, it would be ye ghar inke hain. Ye ghar inke hain. Or ye inke ghar hain. ये इनके घर हैं. Notice how it's के and the to be verb is हैं. That's because we're talking about 3 houses. How would we say, those are our houses? Those are our houses would be, वो हमारे घर हैं. वो हमारे घर हैं. Or वो घर हमारे हैं. वो घर हमारे हैं. Okay, so I think we've looked at all types of examples. I would highly recommend taking the quiz, as it'll provide lots more examples, which will hopefully help you better understand the various patterns for how to write sentences using possessive adjectives. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in episode number 29. For now, Khuda Hafiz.